Aetherdrift spoiler season is in full gear. I'm talking about the best I've seen so far for the Commander format, starting with this tall drink of water. Sab-Sunen, Luxa Embodied, is the god of women that start street and drag races worldwide. I wouldn't have bet on their god having a frog face, but I'm not mad about it. Look at the thigh. Following the godly path, this creature is indestructible and can only attack or block when certain conditions are met. It looks like a frog, so reach makes sense, and there's trample on account of the aforementioned thighs. Alright, I'm gonna crash out real quick, like a streetcar, talking about these conditions. Keeping track of even or odd on a permanent isn't hard. It feels like lazy, uninspired design. I remember not even mentioning Kian from the Jumpscare Precon at all last year for the same reason. I think there's a lot of people that agree because she has not gained any traction as a commander, despite her objectively powerful abilities. Now I get there's a callback to Bounty of the Luxa with the every other turn thing, but I'm getting ahead of myself, and it's time to get back on track. Starting at the bottom. At the beginning of your first main phase, the creature gets a +1/+1 counter. Then, if it has an odd number of counters, you draw 2 cards. Pretty cool. If it has an even number of counters, the creature can't attack or block. Less cool. Absent other synergies, an indestructible 6/6 that will be a blocker and draw you 2 cards on the following turn is a nice start. But I gotta say, it grinds my gears not being able to attack or block whenever I want. Thankfully, Innkeeper's Talent will tack on another counter at the beginning of combat to make that happen. Fight Rigging and Hadana's Climb are similar options that aren't $20. You gotta keep in mind though, these both say counters, meaning shield, indestructible, finality counters are all going to count. Let me know in the comments if you want this as a commander or what commander deck you cannot wait to slot this into. In the meantime, I rate this card thigh out of 10. We've got ourselves the first instance of Loyalty Link in Magic the Gathering. I overlooked it at first because we live in the dealing combat damage to players era, but this thing triggers on any instance of combat damage during your turn. That trigger converts the combat damage dealt with the equipped creature to that many loyalty counters. Equip the legendary artifact Planeswalker equipment, what a mouthful, with the +1 ability, attaching it to a creature and giving it a +1/+1 counter. Hopefully you can smash that turn. If it was only for a little, you've at least opened the door toward drawing 2 cards with the -5 ability. If you smashed it good, you're looking at 10 mana of any one color with the -10 ability. Best case scenario is pairing this up with an inventory management or battlefield improvisation kind of effect to get the minus value on the same turn you cast it. Moving back to the start, like a race car, this planeswalker can't be attacked as long as it's attached to a creature. I like this as an element of protection against creatures, and it really needed it. Planeswalker removal is somewhat slim, but artifact removal certainly isn't, and that is a very real downside. But I don't want you to get too down on it, because it also opens the door to artifact and equipment tutors. I didn't expect to be in a world where Stonehewer Giant would be grabbing planeswalkers, but welcome to 2025. Going down that same road, Kellen the Fayblooded enjoys a natural progression of turns. Birthright Boon into Kellen, into the Aetherspark, and Smash. That sets you up on turn 5 with 10 bonus mana to really put the pedal to the metal. I rate this card a budget arc reactor out of 10. While you and I try to make sense of what that means, move that mouse, or finger, or remote to the subscribe button and smash it good. Many thanks. Magic's new mascot is back with its 3rd version in 9 months, and it finally broke Deadeye Navigator. Praise be to Sab-Sunen. On a more serious note, that second exhaust ability is figuratively Ancestral Recall. And this thing has haste, meaning you've got a 6 mana draw 3 stapled onto a double striking and vigilant creature. You may be thinking to yourself, the new exhaust mechanic only lets you activate the ability a single time, and Yeah, that's true. But blinking the creature will have it re-enter as a new object, so let's just do that, yeah? Other tap ability options include the newly minted Bark Ritual and Lightning Bolt, giving Loot the inside track to becoming the best Teamer Blink commander. Looping back to the start, again, like a race car, Loot, Deadeye, and something like an Impact Tremors will make for infinite ETBs, leading to infinite damage thanks to the Bark Ritual ability. It also pairs fantastically with the other abilities to let you rip through your deck, destroy creatures, or burn opponents out the hard way. A less in-your-face option is a personal favorite of mine, Gossip's Talent. The starting mode works out to smooth your draws as creatures enter. The second level adds commander damage inevitability thanks to Loot's 2 power and double strike. And the final level can blink the little bugger after it connects to a player, letting you double up on those tap abilities. Loot isn't the spark plug to my engine, but I'd be lying if I didn't say this card is gas. I rate it the third Loot out of 3. This card is telling me to start my engines, but I'm pumping the brakes because I am a certified skeptic of this new mechanic in Commander. Or more specifically, it combined with only a max speed payoff. The game could be over in the many turns before you reach max speed and get whatever payoff the card says. It's many and more turns if you can't reliably make an opponent lose life on your turn. Hazoret Godseeker is a cheap god at 2 mana, but needs you to be at max speed before engaging in combat things. Thankfully, it can make use of its haste through the 1 mana tap ability, making a target creature with power 2 or less unblockable for the turn. Notably, not necessarily a creature you control, which is a marginal but interesting political angle. There's a lot of hate on the internet right now about the utter flavor fail on this card, and I don't disagree, but I draw the line at the former printing featuring a left-handed queen, while this version is a right-handed infidel. What a mess. I rate this min speed out of max speed. That comment about the flavor fail of Hazoret has been extended to the rest of the set, but I don't agree. The dual color Gearhulks play a big role in that. Firewood is a stylish new finisher strapped onto a thick Gruul body. I already know that this is going to become a pet card of mine. Oil Deep is less impressive mechanically, but still impressive artistically. It's also a decent answer to your local combo player, letting you snatch that Underworld Breach they just tutored for, while leaving you with more than a serviceable body. Bright Glass was spoiled a while ago, and I think is more impressive than either of them, tutoring 2 little artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Best of all is that these all seem to reference the Phyrexian invasion in their flavor text. Shout out to Ren, the Pyrewoods got your back. I rate these a hole in my wallet out of worth it. Friendship ended with Boros equipment. Boros vehicle is my new best friend. The ability to crash your cars and horses as soon as they enter is a fun new development for the card type, even if it may lack power. My favorite way this could play out is casting vehicles so that they can enter and crew the vehicles you previously played. Smuggler's Copter coming down to crew the rolling hamsphere is a sequence that I cannot wait to see play out. I rate Kolodin Triumph Caster number 1. He's compelling. What can I say? Quick call out to Hulldrifter, uniquely based on Nulldrifter, that was uniquely based on Mulldrifter. I rate this the rule of 3 out of please don't print another one of these. Ketramose was spoiled as I was writing this video, and I wasn't going to not talk about it. Exile Matters is a unique theme, possibly toxic theme, sure, but something I'm happy to see nonetheless. The god can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. It goes on to say, whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Of course it's indestructible, but Menace and Lifelink are nice keywords to tack on there. Off the bat, it feels weird to get rewarded for playing some of the best cards period, let alone in these colors. Like, do you really need another reason to put Swords or Path or Bojuka Bog in your Orzhov deck? The answer is yes. Take advantage of everything they give you and do not look back. That's how you win the big race, and don't you forget it. Besides an exile-based removal suite, there's also the blink angle to rack up those cards, but I'm feeling that graveyard exile. Douthie Voidwalker is great anyway, but now it draws you cards. From the Catacombs gives those corpse counters that eventually exile the reanimated creature. It also has escape for the double whammy. Alright, you gotta tell me if I've drifted way off course with this one. Is this the Orzhov Battle Commander? You know, the battles, when defeated, are first exiled, then cast as the transformed version. Invasion of New Capenna exiles things already on the front side. Deluge of the Dead from Innistrad can be activated to exile cards from graveyards. Ketramose can live through Fiora, and then Marchesa can keep flipping other battles. I'm inspired, but also afraid I may have taken in a little more card exhaust than previously thought. In any case, I rate New Dawn as winning the battle out of winning the war. I'm gonna wrap it up here with Full Throttle, and thankfully it makes the car pun for me, so I'm off the hook for that one. 6 mana, 2 additional combat phases. If you've got an established board, this is vehicular manslaughter in the form of a spell. Maybe you gotta roll the dice and hope a couple extra attack triggers gets you the win. Maybe this is the spell you cast in Storm's Ceaseless Tempest. No matter the case, this is going to be a blast to cast. I rate Full Throttle 2 fights out of 3. Chrome Mox is also a special guest, so if you need some incentive to check out the pre-release, maybe that'll get you on the road. I didn't bring this up to only entice you with $100 cards. I mostly wanted to share my love of pre-releases. It's a fairly cheap cost of entry for a handful of packs that you whip up into a 40-card deck. Everyone there is playing with the cards for the first time, trying out new things, and playing face-to-face Magic, which hits so much better. At least for me. If you've only played Commander, I cannot recommend more strongly giving these events a chance. It doesn't have to be Aetherdrift if that's not your vibe, but keep it in your trunk. That's enough of that. Now take a look at these 2 commanders that were spoiled for the 2 precons for the set. My next video is going to talk about them and their decks. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the upload. Like the video, and to get a sneak peek at what that video may look like, click the video right over there. I'll catch you next time for some more monkeying around.